Welcome back, mere mortalites, to another edition of the book reviews, and today I've got another set of learnings from Endure by Cameron Haines. How to work hard, outlast, and keep hammering. You know it, folks, keep hammering. Now, I've got in total 6 learning points I took away from this book. If you want to go and check out the actual full book review, make sure you go and do that. I've released that to the channel not too long ago. Go and let me know what your thoughts are on that particular one, whether you've read it or not. Now, whether you have read it or not, whether you've even checked out that book review or not, what I like to do in these moments is just go through the pieces that I've noted down as, hey, these are my learnings. These are the points that I go, hey, it really got me thinking. And I thought, hey, I'll share that out with the world. Maybe it allows for a better conversation. Maybe you find a different meaning to it. Whichever it may be, maybe it'll allow a conversation. Immortal lights. So here we go. The first one that I picked up, so this was, again, all coming from Cam Haines. All I'm asking is that you get up and go. I don't give answers, I take action. I'm not trying to educate, I'm leading by example. I don't talk about tomorrow, I live out today. Yeah, so that one just all in regards to taking action or default action of not, as he says, talking about it for tomorrow, living it out today in the doing. One of the annual goals that I have myself personally is deeds over word. And I think it applies probably across the board for a lot of people. We tend to say a lot of things and maybe go over the top with things that we want to do. I certainly do, where it's, embellishing the truth or going over the top of what I think it can do. Living via actions, or at least the deeds, can be so much more powerful in quite a few ways. Obviously, one, you're doing the things that you're saying that you're going to do, doing them even before you say them, kind of like even precedes what you are needing to do. You don't even have to say it. All of a sudden, it's your actions that speak louder than your words, and that's always a very true thing. But I think why I found it really interesting, it kind of tagged along with a thing that I'm really thinking about more and more, which is expectations. And when, as Cam says, you don't give answers, you take action. There's no almost preset expectation in that format. If you're not saying, hey, I'm going to do this or not. Yes, in part, there's some formalities in life that you probably let people know that you're going to go do something and go somewhere. But let's just say running. If I was going to run a mile, right? And again, I'm not giving answers in terms of if someone asking me around, or if I'm telling myself, you know what, guys, I'm going to run a mile. Mom and dad, I'm going to run a mile. Saying to my little daughter, I'm going to run a mile. That, and again, giving that answer, maybe it sounds motivational. Maybe it sounds valuable. But in reality, it's taking the action that is the value. And going ahead and doing that, running the mile, lifting the weights, making the hard conversations happen, taking that action is so much more valuable. It's the real value than the words ever will, and will actually, kind of entail what the words would have done anyways, but with the actual value delivered. So I really like that particular one. The other one that I picked up, this is from the life is suffering part. Some of those struggles come from unexpected places and unpredictable situations. In the same way you can't control the weather, your life will be filled with unexpected storms that can hit hard and either break you, toughen you up, or simply teach you about the darker parts of life that don't get featured in Hallmark movies. Simply teach you about the dark parts of life that don't get featured in Hallmark movies. The struggles that we all experience are, in whichever way you really want to look at them, learning points. And there's that mentality of, what doesn't break you just makes you stronger. True. But sometimes it can completely, utterly break you, and it's not good. But even the darkest parts of life, which you don't see, you don't see in the Hallmark movies of, hey, this bad thing happened, success, and that worked really well. Sometimes it's, really dark parts in life where some of the true learnings come from that maybe people don't want to talk about. Maybe it's things people just don't want to re-scab again, re-scratch to actually learn from. And it also made me realize, reading through the whole book as well, that the sort of dark places that Cameron talks about, there's individuals in this world who have gone through much darker planes, much darker existences that honestly I have, and I feel like I've felt some suffering. I've understood some of the things in this world, but when you read things and you put some things in comparison, I'd probably say mine are more related to the hallmark type of ideals than it is like from real deep dark things that can happen in this world. But also be preparing for that, whether it's into the future or hopefully never. Some of those struggles coming from very, as you mentioned, unexpected and unpredictable ways can be the things that can give you a lot of the learnings as well from it. The next one that I've got here, note it down. It's from the Don't Let Them Outwork You, folks. This was an interesting one. I'll start from the full top. I've been working at the same company for 25 years. I've never called in sick. Damn. I've never missed a day that I wasn't scheduled to be gone. Knowing that I make more money from my side hustle of bow hunting, people always ask why I don't just quit my day job. Since my work ethic is the only reason I excel, and my job at the utility company has been a huge part of developing that work ethic, I feel called to stay and continue working there. I really like the guys who work for me. I believe in them and want them to succeed. Maybe I'm just loyal. Also, I don't quit things, and I'm not going to start now. A couple of things in there. One, that idea of, hey, this is the thing that built me up, so I'm not going to let it go because it might, pull you back from the disciplined view or the consistency that you have. I get that. And I don't know if I struggle particularly with it because we've all got to be built up from somewhere, right? I've got that, you've got that, me and more lights out there. There's an idea or a storyline that allowed you to be where you are today. But the point around, hey, no, you cannot quit this. You have to actually stick around or else you're going to fall away with that discipline. I don't know if that's right. Well, I don't know if that is the most correct way to apply it because and I guess it depends on the outcome that you're also looking to do. If you're trying to improve human flourishing or your own success by whatever metric you want to call that, money or impact that you're providing for other people's lives or ability to continue your legacy, whatever, there might be better energy and better effort spent elsewhere than potentially continuing that work, let's just say, like Cam is, and still being able to maintain that discipline. I don't believe that if Cam headed off and went to go do pure just podcasting or content creation or consulting, whatever, rather than his work, and it freed him up to do more of that and allow human flourishing to continue much further across the whole world, I still don't think that he would lose his discipline. I feel like he'd still be able to do his running in the morning and all that. I might not be correct, but I go, shit. And if he's saying hey, no, for him, he's got to do that. I don't want it to, move forward on the view, that means basically nobody could be able to move away from the thing that they've built him up to be. And I don't think that's particularly the case. However, the other one around there that I guess, and again, there's all the motivational pieces in here, is he's never called in sick, never miss a day that I wasn't scheduled to be gone. I've seen that in myself in a lot of ways. There's a lot of times that I just haven't called in sick when I probably should have. Fine, that's what it is. But it's the consistency, right? The reading that and going, a large part of who Cam Haines is probably the consistency that has led to the discipline, as opposed to just having the discipline right from day dot that allows the consistency to happen in the first place. He talks about it in the book around what got him starting into running, which wasn't his love for running in particular. It was bow hunting and becoming better at running. So it was the discipline to become the best at bow hunting, which allowed for the consistency in running and a few other things as well. The next one that I've got on the list here comes from the section of course, that one wouldn't have that piece. Believe to achieve. Oh, goodness. So this was an interesting one. So at one point in time, Cam, there's a big story here of him running with Lance Armstrong, famous Tour de France cyclist. And there was a piece where they were running up a Heartbreak Hill. And I talked through here. Was that Heartbreak Hill? No, I tell him. And then this is to Lance. Heartbreak is still a couple of miles out. Mile 21. Then what the hell was that? Says Lance. I didn't know, but it hurt. How are you feeling? I asked as we steadily moved together. Fucking dying, Lance said. Thank God, I thought, because I'm dying too, but this gives me hope. Misery loves company. And that I found really interesting in that, one, you get to see underneath the surface of the Cam Haines, because sometimes when you see a person, you see me, I see you, you're seeing someone on the street, you're seeing the surface, you're seeing the human shell, you're seeing the blubbery stuff on the outside, and you're not seeing the level of, oh, holy shit, like that dude is, really kicking hard under the water, really struggling for whatever it may be. In this particular example and throughout the story, it's, Cam's just trying to keep up with Lance Armstrong and actually finish together in that particular race, and it was all televised. And I haven't actually seen the video myself, but it seemed like it was shared around quite a bit. But in just that little moment of misery loving company, I go, sharing and being open around some of that misery, some of that suffering, it's not that bad. I could see whether in a race or at a gym session or whatever, at work, talking to whoever, a close one or not close one, misery love company. And if you share your suffering sometimes and allow a little bit of a view beyond the blubbery skin of the human into the soul, into who a person is, I think other people will find company in some of that misery. Not in a dark sense, not in a negative sense, but in a transparent, seeing the suffering and recognizing that there's some non-uniqueness in the human race, and that you and me both feel very similar suffering, and across the spectrum of life, we're not that unique, really, which weirdly connects us all together even more. The second last one that I've got here, this one's from, once again, nice little image that stops me from telling you what particular chapter it is. Good, train hard, hunt easy. Outside, once again, I took off on a perfect running night and I ran. It was crazy because I felt great. My legs definitely felt like I'd done something, but I could still stride out and run strong. Not super fast, but fluid. Now, why did I tell you this particular piece? Now, I just talked then about a little excerpt of Cameron going off and running, right? Perfect night and going through. This particular story was a story around Cam wanting to go for, it was a 50 miler or a 100 miler, I believe. It might have been the 100 miler. Yes, it was a 100 miler. And he was kind of prepping into it. And just before, tapering down, he started getting into this mindset of, hey, I just want to keep doing it. I just want to keep running specifically. And it was a particularly good night. I believe at the start of the story, he was with his sons at the cinema, and he was basically just getting the itch. And he's like, hey, I need to go. I need to go for a run. I'll see you guys later. Runs, comes back. A little bit later, he just feels like, I need to go for more of a run. Again, and now, as I was talking about it, he continues. I was so pumped. A smile across my face. The same sort I had on Hunt when I was in the zone. This was the feeling I chased every day. I want to keep going. Get in another 20 miler. So this dude's doing massive amounts of running before a huge run. And what I guess pulled out to me is, one, insane, crazy, amazing, holy shit, this dude's like wild. And you find it throughout the whole book. But the level of tenacity or the perseverance for a passion of his, of running and doing it just because you really enjoyed it, I felt it was really refreshing to read across this book. And that particular story, and that's on page 150 before and afterwards, was a really good one to pick up. It made me smile. It was one of those stories that I read and I was like, yeah, that's a very interesting one. And so I'd recommend read that particular part. And the last one here that I've actually got noted down was in relation to mindset. And again, the section was the best never rest. So kind of following along with what I was saying just before. Now, this is in relation to talking about Emma. Emma is also an ultra marathon runner. So I knew in the race, Emma could have easily thought, well, it's 7,000 feet. I just don't have it today. I'm running against milers and I'm not a miler. I'm a 3,000 meter runner. This isn't my day. She could have just settled in and come in with the pack and still had a good time. Still had a 4:30 mile, damn, which is fast. Or she could have told herself, it's going to hurt, but I don't care. There was some moment, some decision she made where she decided to give it all she had, knowing it was going to hurt very bad. Nobody would know. Nobody would question whether she was giving 85% or 90% or 99%. Emma turned it up, passed every other woman down the stretch, and won the race. I asked her about the decision she made. What was it like? She simply shook her head and told me there was no decision. This was what she was trained to do. And again, I'll really specifically called out, it's the nobody would know. Nobody would question whether you're at 85%, 99%, 2%, if you just finished at whatever pack it was. She wasn't expected, as he sort of called out, that it was going to be her day. You could have easily just called it, and this applies to many things in our life, right? Doing this particular book review, going to work on time, getting the extra half-hour session at the gym, or that extra mile at the run, going and doing a 21K because you said you were going to do it, picking up your kids from school at the exact time and pushing out something else that you had to do. Some of those, of course, it's going to be known. Some of them, like the running, or maybe perhaps pushing that extra mile, nobody's going to know. Nobody's really watching it. Hell, if Cam Haines, and I guess talking about Emma here, you and me probably not as watched, right? And not as looked at. Yeah, who cares if you're not doing that extra mile, really? And it was brilliant on that. This was what she was trained to do. And at least for, this individual, Emma, she was an ultramarathon runner. She was trained to run, did ultramarathons and also did some speed runs. She was trained for that and fine. But I guess the clear point that I went is, you can train yourself to become really quite powerful, not just physically, but mentally. Mentally in the sense of when things like that pop up in life, the challenging scenario, the pushback where you think that you're not going to get through that particular threshold, you can push past that threshold. It is sometimes, quite often, largely a mental thing. It's a mental barrier. I experienced this the first time I was doing a big 12-week phase of running. Dude, I quit all the time, purely mentally. Physically, could have done it easily. There was never sore. It wasn't like my legs weren't strong enough, or I didn't have the energy, or wasn't that well fed. I was all of those. It was always the little mental barriers that just stopped me. And it just helped me reminisce and go, I think it can be helpful for all of us to remember that there's certain thresholds that sometimes nobody sees, which we should engage and battle with day to day so that we improve it. And again, in an aspect of becoming more anti-fragile, it helps us out to be a little bit more powerful each and every day. So those are a couple of the learnings, interesting points I took away from Endure by Cam Haines. Once again, I've done the book review fully, so if you want to go check out that, go do so on our normal channels. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. Did you have any other takeaways from the book by Cam Haines? Did you enjoy that? Did you not? Is there things that you'd like me to change? Again, I'm just experimenting with putting together these sort of things. I enjoy kind of noting down anyways what my learnings are. I'm just simply sharing them. If you find it enjoyable, do let me know. Helps us influence the podcast. For now, I'm going to leave it there. Me Immortalites. I hope you have enjoyed, and wherever you are in the world, be well. One